Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barbies and Kens, Kelly of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast. I'm your host, John, and I have with me my wonderful co-host. It's you, and you're still trying to betray me. This time by ruining my own wedding. Jay, how could you?
Yep, that's me.
Yeah, that was a perfect line read by me. For those of you just joining us, we're a podcast about Barbie movies. Every week, we watch one of the straight-to-DVD animated Barbie movies, and we rate its story, characters, animation, voice acting, and music to see how it stacks up. This week, we are talking about the 19th animated Barbie movie, Barbie: A Fairies Secret. What a dumb title.
It's a dumb title, but the movie
It's even
is
dumber.
absolutely insane.
Is bonkers.
It is wild. Like,
It's so bonkers.
my scores are going to be low this episode, but that is not a reflection of how much I enjoyed watching this movie play out, because it is on just another level of insanity.
See, you actually enjoyed watching this.
Yes, I had a good time with it.
Yeah, I was just waiting for this to end by the 30-minute mark.
Yeah,
It's still
I
a
think,
long movie.
yeah, it does get a little long. But
Even
every
though it's a
time,
really short movie.
yeah, no, I was definitely checking the runtime, but I mean, it just keeps cutting back to like the most insane lines and line readings in any of these Barbie movies. It was so odd. But yeah, anyway, this is Barbie: A Fairy Secret. It was released February 19, 2011 in movie theaters. We
Wow.
talked about this. This is through the Kid
Imagine
Tunes.
that. Imagine going to a movie theater and seeing this film.
Yeah, it must have felt like a fever dream.
I gotta feel sad for those parents, man.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they knew what they were getting into with a Barbie movie, but still.
No, because all the others are so much better.
Yeah, this is an odd one.
This
The
was an
DVD
odd one.
was released actually a month later on March 15th, and then it aired on Nickelodeon on April 17th, so another month later, but all early 2011. And it was directed by William Lau, returning. He was the director of the last movie and quite a few others. Written by Elise Allen, again, returning writer, though this is the. It feels like a different writer wrote this.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so bonkers on every level.
Yeah.
It's wild. And then we have music by B.C. Smith. He's been the composer for the last few Barbie movies, so he's coming back for this one.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, this is a story about Barbie. Again, this is actually apparently the same Barbie from Fashion Fairy Tale a little
Yes.
while later. And she's a movie star who's working alongside her stylist, Carrie and Taylor, and her jealous co star, Raquel.
Uh-huh.
And Carrie and Taylor are secretly fairies. And this becomes important when one day Ken is kidnapped by the fairy princess Graciela and taken to the magical kingdom of Los Angeles. Hold for applause. Yeah, and Princess Graciela wants to marry Ken and trap him in the fairy world. But her, like, beau that she has in the fairy world, Zayd, is incredibly confused by this and challenges Ken to 3 duels.
Uh-huh.
It's just, I don't know, it's like something straight out of Midsummer Night's Dream,
It
but
just happens.
yeah, it
We're
doesn't make
sitting
any
there,
sense.
they're just enjoying some milkshakes and nothing, we have fairies, and Ken gets kidnapped by one, and our princess is drugged. It's just, Too much, so quick. We're 10 minutes in, and it's just wild. You have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, and while this is happening, Carrie and Taylor reveal to Barbie and Raquel that they are fairies, and they go to Paris, where there's a secret door that leads to Los Angeles, in the house of Liliana Roxell, who I
Tying into
believe
the
was in the
last
last
film.
movie.
Yeah.
Yep, she's a fashion magazine editor.
Roxelle.
Yes, and she reveals that Princess Graciela is under the influence of a love potion, and that Barbie has to sprinkle this magical powder over her to break the spell.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, back in the fairy world, Ken and Zane duel, and Barbie and company eventually show up. They have some adventures along the way.
Yeah. Quote unquote adventures.
Yeah, it's maybe the less compelling part of the movie.
Yeah.
But they show up, and before they can break the spell, Graciela locks them away in these cells made out of hatred or
Or
anger.
something. Or something.
Yeah, and while in the cell, Barbie and Raquel realize that they got off on the wrong foot.
They actually love each other.
Yeah, no, it's a sweet scene in a movie full of really weird moments.
It was still a weird moment.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
suddenly they're free because of the power of love or some bullcrap.
Yep, and they fly up to stop the wedding, where it is revealed that Graciela's attendant, Crystal, is the one who slipped her the love potion because she was in love with
Revealed?
Zane. I mean,
Revealed?
it's signposted. That's what the
We knew
characters
this the
realize.
first 10 minutes.
Yes.
Her first appearance. It's like, oh, that's a cool looking character. Oh, she's a villain. Just the
Yeah.
way the character's acting. It's like, ah, she's the bad guy. Okay, that's so obvious. What a shame. And then her motivation was just, really? That's it?
Yeah, she's just kind of she's in love with Zane, so she orchestrates this complex plan. I mean, it's the a Midsummer Night's Dream, but if you were just dropped in the middle of it,
Right.
like no explanation, just like okay, here's what's going on, just like
Right.
the middle of a scene. And yeah, after they kind of like throw the bottle back and forth, and then Barbie is able to sprinkle the magic powder on Graciela, and the curse is broken. And Graciela returns Barbie, Ken, and Raquel to the human world, where they wake up and remember everything as if it were a dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Midsummer.
Yeah, Midsummer Night. I mean, I feel like Elise Allen must be taking at least some inspiration from Midsummer Night's Dream.
This whole film is a fever dream.
It
Like,
is.
we're under some sort of hallucinogenics. Because psychedelic visuals are all over this film. And the
Yeah,
portals and their wings.
their wings had really odd patterns. It was
Psychedelic.
yeah. I don't know what is going on with this Barbie movie because it is absolutely bonkers on pretty much every level.
Every level. Bonkers. For,
Yeah,
for,
the
for reasons.
even the dialogue, like I almost wish we had kept the separate category for writing because there are so many lines in this movie that are just absolutely hilarious and come out of nowhere.
And they're all from Ken.
Yeah, Ken and Princess Graciela have the lines that are just the oddest. Like
Mm.
Ken very much does not want to get married to Graciela, but he at one point runs into a door and he's like, "Oh, ouch, my nose! And on my wedding day. Wait, why did I say that?"
Ken is just. He's the AVP of this film.
Yes,
The only thing I enjoyed was watching Ken.
yeah,
And that's saying something. Because Ken.
yeah. All of the insanity of this movie, or at least most of it, is focused in the Ken plot line, where it's just like odd thing after odd thing keeps happening to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he like accidentally ends up in 3 duels he doesn't even want to be in.
And he just goofs his way around each one of them.
Yeah, it's So odd. But yeah, as for the rest of the characters, I don't know. I found the motivations here to be really like
Oh yeah.
interesting in a like it's high school drama, but in this like big fantasy setting with these big it's marriage and having to stay forever in Los Angeles and all of these big things. But it all really just comes down to like jealousy and
It's a high school drama.
yeah, which is kind of, I mean, that's kind of the plot of A Midsummer Night's Dream.
It's Barbie Diaries all over again.
Yeah, I don't know. I found it like we've had particularly Crystal, the villain's motivation here.
Oh my gosh, that's what it was. That lady that disappeared from Barbie Diaries, she was a fairy.
Oh, oh,
Cause they are in all shops
yeah.
apparently.
What? Oh, John, I think you just cracked the Barbie Cinematic Universe.
Oh my gosh, that's what this is.
This is an explanation for the plot hole in Barbie Diaries. This entire movie exists just for that one reason.
Oh,
And it's written by Elise Allen.
it is.
She's the through line. She's the Kevin Feige. She's pulling all these strings.
What was the name of the villain in that film?
Was it Raquel?
I wonder if it was.
What? Oh no. I
I
don't
mean,
remember.
Raquel was from the last film. She
Yeah.
was the one who made the fake phone call.
Oh, I didn't make that connection.
Wow, this
This
is
is
something.
yeah. Let me go through my notes to see.
We have to go through our notes. I didn't write anything
John.
meaningful down. I don't think it is.
Raquel.
Oh my gosh!
Oh no.
We did it, boys! We cracked it!
What?
We did it!
Oh man. This is insanity.
Because the diaries themselves had butterflies on them.
Oh no. It's the Barbie Cinematic Universe. I didn't believe it existed until this moment.
It was just a joke because Kelly Sheridan, but now it could be real.
Oh man.
This is trippy.
Yeah. This whole movie is it's just like the linchpin of all of these different things.
It works out too because that was not that. A lot of things are off in that film. A lot of things are
Yeah.
off in this one. They go together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh, yeah. As for like the story of this movie,
Yeah, let's go to the
separate
story.
from the war or from the like universe connections, one of the things I did actually like is the world building here,
Okay.
where a lot of it is just kind of like thrown at you, and you kind of just have to deal with it as it pops up. And I don't know,
It's
we've
not
had
the
a lot
best
of
way to do it.
no, but we've had a lot of Barbie movies with like here's the narration that cleanly explains everything. And this movie
What
has a
happened to the
ton of
fairies?
exposition. Yeah. I mean, I guess because they aren't actually fairies.
How do they factor into this? Do they visit the fairy world? They do very specifically say we're not fairies, we're flaries.
Yeah, maybe there's a separate place that they go to.
Princess Charm School. We just gotta wait.
Yeah.
This is the biggest development in all 19 films. Is realizing that they're all related. They flat out said it last film, but this one confirms it.
Yeah. Oh man, this is wild. And I mean, for this movie to be the linchpin, it's weird because it's like the story here isn't all that compelling. Like,
It's not.
particularly the Barbie quest line.
Hmm.
It's just kind of standard. And they try to do this thing where they have the relationship between Barbie and Raquel,
Hmm.
but the way they do it is they like introduce the two as like opposing forces, and then
Right.
they kind of work together, and then their relationship doesn't really progress. They're just kind of static for most of the movie, and then at the end they have this big scene, and that's like there's no arc to it. It's just like 2 points and then static in between the 2 points.
Didn't they try this in some other film?
They've done this. I think the biggest one is Mermaidia.
Oh yeah, Mermaidia.
And in
Did,
Mermaidia it worked a lot better because there were points along the story
mhm.
of development. Whereas here it's just like there's point A and point B and it's static between the two.
Yeah. I have to watch Barbie Diaries again.
Yeah. I don't know if all of the plot
We're not
lines
going
match up,
to,
but
but it brings the question: is this a fan theory?
oh, there are Barbie Cinematic Universe fan theories, but I always just kind of chalk them up to like the Pixar theory type thing where it's just a bunch of like vague random guesswork.
Hmm.
But now that you pointed this all out, I mean, there might be something going on here.
Yeah, like what happened to Barbie's friends from last film?
Yeah.
They were killed by the fairies and replaced.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't really characters. Were they the same names? Now I need to look at my notes for Fashion
See,
Fairy Tale.
I don't think so. That's not important right now. Right now, we have a story that starts out so weird. We go from the intro of them celebrating at the red carpet straight to Crystal drugging the princess.
Yeah. I mean,
You're
it
like,
kicks
what
off
is
so
this?
fast.
It kicks off so fast. I have no idea what's going on. Fairies are a thing, apparently. I mean,
Yeah, it is.
that's not far off considering these films. But still, it's just happens.
Yeah,
We're not introduced to these characters properly. They just do stuff.
yeah. And I don't know, I think it might have worked a lot better if they had kept up that momentum or like cut out 20 minutes in the middle. Just like sped through all of this rather than because it starts to lose steam pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, until the end
Yeah.
when they get things going.
Like, yeah, there's so much time spent on like, oh, Barbie and Raquel need wings. Or even like the Paris sequence that goes on
Let's
for a
go
long time.
shopping.
Yeah, then the like swirl nados, is that what they were called?
Raquel can do it.
She can ride horses.
Apparently.
I mean, that's not the weirdest thing we've heard in this movie, but
No, but it's just they come up with a problem. They have no solution. But then they thought, we have these pega-ponies. That name.
terrible name.
Terrible names. And Raquel, you're good at riding horses. You can do it. And they do it.
Yeah, it is wild. The
Th-
twists and turns.
that moment, you could take that one moment out, and I'd be
Yeah.
fine with this film. I wouldn't, but that one moment and
Yeah,
the power of
honestly,
love.
I, I like the power of love stuff just because it's like,
Not, I don't like that it just frees them automatically.
yeah. I wish it had been developed throughout the movie
Sure.
rather than just like introduced in that scene
Mhm.
as like we should have seen. I think Raquel gets the short end of the stick here in terms of characterization because we don't see a lot of her getting to do things that are like so much of her character is in her backstory, but we don't see any of that. We don't see her and Barbie meet, though I guess the stuff in the Barbie diaries, but that just feels like an entirely different character
Yeah.
because in that one she's like the popular girl, whereas here she's like the new girl in town who doesn't quite fit in and feels very shy and kind of acts hostile because of it.
Or she was popular, then Barbie took over.
Oh, maybe.
Because we see, like, in the opening that she is somewhat recognized, but as soon as Barbie comes in, they're like, oh yeah, let's look at Barbie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I feel like I would have to rewatch Barbie Diaries before making like a. But in Barbie Diary, no, it can't be because in Barbie Diaries there's a throwaway line about how they used to be friends.
So that's the
Unless,
before.
okay,
That's the before.
yeah, this is wild.
They were middle school friends. They rode horses in middle school.
Yeah. Oh man.
But continuing on,
Yeah. This is kind of tempting me to bump up my score,
no.
but I don't
Really?
think I will. I won't. Because I don't think it's entirely one to one. But I do like that Elise Allen is like bringing stuff back from as far as Barbie Diaries.
Or maybe it's just her writing style
Well,
influence.
yeah, I think the name similarity has me
It could also be
wondering.
like a note from Mattel where if you're
Yeah,
going to have you have your Barbie and you got your Kens and your Kellys, if there's like a rivalry, it's going to be a Raquel.
yeah, and they
Maybe they
have
had
reused
established
names
that.
before. But yeah, I don't know. It is kind of fun to make these connections. But yeah, I'm not gonna give it any extra points for that. I
No.
will say I will preface my score by saying like this movie is insane and I had so much fun watching it. That said, it's the story could use a bit of work, so I
It's
gave it a
really
3.
messy.
Yeah, I gave it.
Structurally, even just what happens, it's not as strong.
Yeah,
Motivations are weak,
the Ken plot line is so much more interesting than the Barbie plot line.
but nothing's really happening.
Yeah,
It's just
nothing
Ken
is
being
happening to neither.
funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, I gave it a 3, which isn't a terrible score, but
Yeah, I give it a 2.5. It's not great. It's it's not great. It really isn't.
yeah, it I gave it extra points for just the sheer audacity of everything, and also because I mean it is fun that they're kind of going for a Midsummer Night's Dream thing,
But they completely threw out
but
story structure.
yeah. So yeah, next up we have characters who Barbie, she's just kind of the standard Barbie hero again here. I
Yeah.
think the most interesting thing about her is her relationship with Raquel, specifically this thing where Raquel, when they met, apparently felt like she couldn't even approach Barbie, and that would have been such an interesting thing to see of like, why did she think that? Was it something that Barbie was doing in the way she was acting or something? But that's all before the start of the movie, so we never get to see that more complex view of her. We just see Barbie, the kind, clever, and brave Barbie that she always is.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see this like mean girls side of her, even if it's like an unintentional side or not an accurate representation of who she actually is. It is something that Raquel felt. So
Barbie, yeah, Barbie's just Barbie. She does Barbie stuff, and she knows that Raquel can do it.
I think Raquel is the more interesting of the two characters, and I mean they obviously can't do this, but I would have liked to have seen the movie from her perspective almost.
Probably because there's not a whole lot on Raquel.
Yeah,
A lot of her is just trying to one up Barbie or mess with her
yeah. And
until we
then what's
find out that she can ride horses, and then she
yeah.
steps up.
And that's an interesting character arc, but again, there isn't a ton of development.
No, which leads me to believe that they probably thought of that last minute.
Okay. I think Raquel could have been the key to making this movie work. As often the deuteragonist, the second most important character in the story, often is sort of the linchpin of what makes these Barbie movies
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But here, yeah, she's just kind of, she never gets the chance to be in the spotlight of the movie.
Speaking of the spotlight of the movie,
Ken, he, he's
Ken,
he's a lovable dork, and everything he does here is just so fun.
that magic trick
So
went on
dumb.
for so long. It was so dumb, yet it was funny.
Yeah. Honestly, where are our Ken movies?
Yeah,
Just like Ken's blundering adventures.
yeah. Mm. Ken.
He's yeah. There isn't a ton to say about his character, but
He had a
he's
lot of
just
good lines, a lot of
yeah,
funny jokes and bits.
yeah. He was just
The
so much
levity that we really needed.
yeah. And poor Ken once again is kind of, his relationship with Barbie is almost entirely off screen at this point,
Right?
like in the
Two
last movie as
films.
well. It's like, oh, poor Ken. And Barbie's meeting all of these women who she has like this connection with that almost feels romantic. And meanwhile, Ken's just kind of like blundering his way through
Mm-hmm.
his misadventures. He's just so much fun all the time in these movies.
He's the thing to look forward to
Yep.
going forward.
Yeah. Next up, we have Carrie and Taylor. They are the fairies of the titular fairy secret.
Yeah, they're the sidekick characters.
Yep. They are. We've had some generic sidekick characters. These feel like the most generic. Like they at least have a little bit of a thing with
Yeah,
Princess Graciela, but their
they're very generic.
personalities are not there.
They can fix things,
Yes.
specifically dresses with fairy magic.
I do like the idea that one of them is a shoe fairy and the other is a purse fairy, and that these fashion items give them
But
magic
why?
power. Yeah, it's a cool idea that never goes anywhere.
But why are they a shoe fairy? Why is that a purse fairy?
Yeah.
Why are fairies so attracted to fashion? And fairies, too.
Yeah. It's just...
What's next?
Next up, we have Princess Graciela.
No. What's next?
Oh,
We have fairies, fairies.
oh, I see where you're going.
What are we getting next? Frairies,
Glairies, prairies,
Larrys, Garys, Marys,
contraries.
Dairies.
Any Garys listening to this podcast, shout out. Any fans of this had Oscar buzz.
Yeah. I mean, whatever it is, it'll be nothing ordinary. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Yes, Princess Graciela is next up on the list. She's just so much fun.
I don't care.
She, I don't know, her entire character is just... I mean, in this movie, she's under this love potion, which just
Yeah.
gives her such an energy that every time she's on screen, the most hilarious insanity happens.
It feels like forced energy, which it is. She's under
Yeah.
a potion. But I don't know. I think it would be better if we had seen her beforehand and see this thing than just her being this. Because this
Yeah,
is too much.
that might have helped, but I don't know. I just had so much fun every time she was on screen. And I think her quote unquote villain motivation here is fun because it's literally she just has this huge crush on Ken. There's nothing more going on. There's no like power grabs or political movements. It's just like, oh yeah, she just has a love potion
The
that she
reveal of
accidentally
that
drank.
was just so pathetic. Like, I'm watching this. It's like, who is that? I want him. And I'm like, really? Is this our plot? This fairy wants Ken? Really?
it, it was so... Again, for me, every time she was on screen, she added so much energy. And the way she plays off of Ken and then also Zane, who we'll talk about in a little bit,
Insane.
was just so much fun. I enjoyed her character here,
Mm-hmm.
especially in contrast to every other villain we've had. And speaking of villains, we have Crystal,
The,
who's the real villain.
the real villain, who doesn't
Speaking...
have a lot of screen time. She's very
No.
quiet. She's in the background, which is a shame because she has a great character design of
Yeah,
green and pink, surprisingly, that worked well together.
yeah. I mean, yeah, she looks fantastic. Her wings are really cool. They're crystals. But yeah, she
Again, her
doesn't...
motivation is very childish
Yeah,
for the actions that she does. This is just no want for power or revenge. She just wants to marry the princess off to this guy so she can get with the boyfriend.
which, yeah, I mean, that is kind of Midsummer Night's Dream esque.
Yeah,
But again, these characters aren't developed in the way that Shakespeare characters are. And as you brought up, the story structure isn't nearly as fine tuned.
I'm looking at my notes, and there's a moment where we're halfway through the film, or most way through the film, and I just write down what's Crystal's motivation because we hadn't had it, and then they revealed it, and I write down, oh, really? Is that all?
Yeah, there's no like extra... She doesn't want power or anything. It's just
She has a
she has a
crush
crush.
on
Yeah.
Zane, our next character.
Yes. Zane is so much fun. Every time he's on screen, he adds energy just like Princess Graciela, and he matches her energy. They're both
Mm,
completely insane in the best way possible.
right.
He's honestly, I just watched recently the Enchanted sequel, and he reminds me a bit of the prince from Enchanted.
A bit,
He has that
but
like
better. No,
he has that like fantasy character in a
who's over the
out of
top?
place. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sort of like dashing hero
Mm-hmm.
who's in a situation that doesn't really need a dashing hero, but he's still acting like the dashing hero.
Right.
Yeah, I just loved every minute he was on screen.
Mm-hmm. Especially with him and Ken, those two
Yes,
work really well together.
I ship it.
I I wasn't thinking that, but
I'd ship it. I'll write. I'll
I
write
like
that
they have a
fanfic.
great. There's a bromance.
Yes. Yeah, and even there's like maybe a little bit of like once Zayn figures out that Ken isn't actually trying to get with Princess Graciela, there's a little bit of like empathy or sympathy that he displays. Like after they finish dueling, there's like a little bit of like a hint of something.
Right, especially at the wedding where he's rejected. He just
Yeah.
gives a sad look to Ken. Like,
and
sorry, man, you're gonna have to go through this.
and what looks he has. He is he's the best looking Barbie man since what's his name in Magic of the Rainbow. Oh, and now I'll be. Why can't I remember?
It's fine.
Yeah, he he was just so much fun, and he's probably the biggest reason that I gave the characters here a 4 out of 5. Him and Graciela and Ken.
Okay, I give the characters a 3 because I felt like there was a lack of. There was just a lack of stuff given to things like Barbie and Raquel. There was really weak motivations all around for a lot of characters. Zayn had a good motivation because it was simple, but it was based on the plot. But we didn't have much for Crystal or the others. That's why it's a 3.
Yeah, I just wanted to give some extra points for the absolute insanity of this movie. So I put those in the character score.
It's not very objective, but okay.
I mean, these scores aren't objective. At least mine aren't even trying to
Uh,
be.
sure.
But yeah, on to animation. This is
Yeah.
honestly, it's such a downgrade in
Yeah.
quality. Like,
This is we're 10 years into Barbie films at this point, and
yeah,
it just looks like 2006 with Fairytopia still.
yeah, and especially after the last few movies, it's like I was honestly watching it. I was like, is this something wrong? Because I've been watching the last few movies on DVD, but I didn't have the DVD for this one, so I watched it on like a streaming thing,
Hmm.
or not on a streaming thing. I watched a rented digital copy.
Right.
Um, and before I've had like issues with the rented digital copy not looking as good as the DVD. So I initially was like, is it just the like digital copy? But no, it's the animation quality is just downgraded all across the board.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I wonder if part of it is that there was a quick turnaround for this movie.
I'm pretty sure there was. It makes sense if there would be.
Yeah, because William Lau, who directed this one, also directed Fashion Fairy Tale, which had come out
Mm.
like a few months prior. And I don't know how much they like swap out the animation teams for the movies or if they even have multiple, but I wonder if this was just like a quicker turnaround than. And they're even like reusing locations.
Yeah, except Paris, we have the Eiffel Tower this time.
Yes, we actually have the Eiffel Tower, and it looks a little better, but mostly because the streets are no longer pink.
Yeah, it's at nighttime as well.
Yeah, it didn't look stellar, but it looked better than it did in Fashion Fairy Tale.
Looked fine.
Yeah, better than it did in parts of Fashion Fairy Tale. I should say, like, Fashion Fairy Tale could look really nice, whereas this movie never really looks good. Like, once they reach Los Angeles, it looks a little bit better, and they actually have some cool world design elements, and like the sky is really funky. And
Somewhat.
when they get sent to down to like the bottom of the castle, there's
Oh,
some
that was cool.
weird, yeah. And there's just a lot of like good use of color. But then when they actually like get up close to the city itself, it's like, oh, there's a lot of just like sparse grassy platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the character movement, even the facial movement,
Yeah.
everything just felt a little lesser in quality.
Yeah.
Now the character designs themselves, I think, are hit or miss as well.
Very hit or miss.
I love a lot of the wings have really neat patterns. I noticed
Yeah. Wings are
Barbie and
good.
Raquel's wings have sort of this like painted
Mm-hmm.
quality to them that was really cool. But for like the actual characters, we do have some good ones. I think I already said I think Zayn looks
I
pretty
thought
spectacular.
he looked bland.
Okay, I will admit I might be a bit biased here.
Yeah, no, there could be a lot more detail that could be added to him because
Yeah,
right now he's got a cool looking wings, but he has this plain blue, dark blue shirt.
yeah, his costume
Not a
isn't
lot of
great.
detail.
I think his hairstyle is unique among Barbie characters in his facial structure. Again, it reminded me of the character from Fairytopia, who I am blanking on the name of, but who was my favorite. But I think he's well designed. I think Princess Graciela looks pretty good.
She's she's pink.
Yep, she doesn't have as she didn't pop as much for me, but
I just think the design would work better for a different character.
okay. Who would it work better for,
A
or just
different
like a different?
character. In
Okay,
general, a different written character.
okay,
While I get the high energy would work with pink, I
yeah,
just think for this film it wasn't all there.
yeah. I think it's fair. I put her in the good category though, because I think overall it worked for me.
Overall, a good design, but I didn't think it really worked. Crystal though,
Yeah,
real
Crystal.
shame because I like her design, but there's not a lot of her.
Yeah, and she always kind of stands out from the backgrounds that she's put in.
Yeah.
Like she's kind of in the back with all of the other attendants, but she doesn't fit in there. Like you could tell she deserves more of a role here.
Mm-hmm.
And even like motivations like the villain from Mariposa. Like something just a little bit further. You can
Right.
keep the love potion aspect, but just like add in just a little bit of extra like
Political intrigue.
yeah, yeah. No, as for the bad character designs, I know they're using the same model for Barbie as they used in the last movie, but here it just looked so off to me.
In some moments, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It might just be that I wasn't noticing as much in Fashion Fairy Tale, but I just did not like her design. and then they changed the design for Ken. And
There's
what?
more detail in his hair, I think, this time.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he looked pretty much entirely different, and it
Could
might
be the
honestly,
lighting too.
yeah. And I think they gave him shorter hair, which didn't quite work. Once he had the like armor and the helmet on, I think he didn't look as terrible.
They had a lot of interesting animation given it to Ken.
Yeah, he had a lot of like the dancing moment when he's
He
dodging
has the
the
dancing, he had the magic finger moment,
yeah.
the Matrix
Yes,
reference.
yes. I'm glad he brought it up because I would have forgotten to bring it up.
They had a Matrix moment with Neo and the guns. They even
Yeah,
had music similar to the
yeah.
Matrix.
It was
It
great.
it came out of nowhere, but it was that time period where everybody was doing it.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah, again, his scenes are the standout of the movie.
Yeah,
But yeah, overall, I gave the animation a 2.5 out of 5.
yeah, I give it a 2.5 also. It's just a downgrade, or in a lot of areas,
Yeah,
especially at this point in Barbie films. We should be so much better than this.
yeah, and we have been so much better than this.
Right.
Now, next up, we have voice acting. Um,
Voice acting, yeah.
Diana Karina is once again playing Barbie. Here, this is her second movie as the character,
Yeah.
and I felt her struggling a bit more with the voice here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that could also just be that because you mentioned in Fashion Fairy Tale you were noticing some of that, and I didn't notice it, but I also don't tend to pick up on that kind of stuff as well as you do. So I don't think it's just this movie.
It's not this movie. She's trying really hard. And there's like very small moments where she reaches it,
Yeah,
but then goes back out. Most of the film she's not quite there.
yeah,
But she still does a good performance.
yeah. I think she's doing an admirable job,
Mm-hmm.
but it is kind of, I mean, Kelly Sheridan was ready to play this role for longer, so it's unfortunate that they recast her.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Um,
yeah, looking at a lot of the voice acting, there's a lot less familiar names this time around.
yeah, we do have Alex Petru is back as Ken, and he does a good job. I think in the first part of the movie, like the first 10 minutes, I wasn't really feeling it, but once he gets to Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
I think he really he's matching the energy of the movie, which is just absolute insanity.
Right.
Then yeah, we have a ton of new names here,
Ton of
and
new names. The
not
only familiar ones I recognize is Michael Dobson and Nicole Oliver.
yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if this is kind of going to be our new cast going forward.
But yeah, like I said before in previous films, at this point, Ponies has been started going on, so it could be a thing where the actors are busy, or they're just looking to disassociate with the older generation.
Yeah, I kind of hope we get our old players back, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we may have to look into if who comes back when, or if anyone does. But
Right.
yeah, in terms of performances that stood out to me, Alexandra Carter plays Princess Graciela. She was a voice actor on X-Men Evolution and My Little Pony, among others, though she seems to have retired from voice acting since 2012. There's
Why,
nothing on her
we don't
IMDb.
know.
Yeah, so I thought she was phenomenal at adding this energy. She was the most fun villain in any of these Barbie movies for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, because we've had Kathleen Barr has been quite a few of the villains, but she always gives a very similar performance. Whereas Alexandra Carter just kind of has this manic energy that just overtakes everything. And she's chewing scenery like an all you can eat buffet. Every line reading is just so extra. I just thought she was so much fun to
Oh.
watch or listen to.
Okay, looking a little further into her, she at this point began working as a physician assistant.
Okay, so switching careers,
Yeah,
good for her.
yeah, good for her.
She is very good in this movie though.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have oh, just a second here. We also have playing Zane Silvio Polillo,
Yeah,
who is an actor, writer, and director who has mostly worked on low budget Canadian action movies. Like, we're talking about straight to DVD things you would have never even heard of.
yeah. No, it's a choice.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea what he did, why he did this movie,
I
but
I could probably gander that he was probably contracted by his. I assume he's part of a union, and he got called to do this job because he's also credited in shows like Arrow and Supernatural. There's another actor on My Little Pony who is part of a union and gets contracted to do small bits in those shows as well. So there's probably a thing where he probably thought about trying this, and this
okay.
was the film he got. He probably hasn't done it since.
Yeah, I thought, like, there's an insanity to this movie, and his performance does a good job capturing it.
Or maybe the people behind this film really like him in his Canadian films. They're like,
Yeah,
let's get this guy.
and his name sounds Italian, but from what I could tell, he isn't Italian. He may be of Italian descent, but he's trying an Italian accent
Is
here.
that what he was doing?
I think, I think, and I'm not an expert on Italian accents,
Right.
but I don't think he was succeeding at doing an Italian accent here.
Or any accent.
Yeah, and in a lot of other movies it bothers me, but here it just fits the insanity so well.
Yeah, I mean, it would never bother me either way, but no, it was still a ride.
Yeah, it sounds like he was having fun. I don't know if he actually was because he hasn't done anything like this since. But I mean, this is such a bonkers movie, and I think the voice cast matches that energy,
hmm
particularly with these line readings of these lines that are just nonsensical in the best way possible.
Nicole Oliver did Roxelle.
Yeah,
Roxelle?
Liliana Roxell.
I thought that she had a convincing accent, so that was it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if we'll see some of these people return. I didn't do a ton of research into the voice acting here, which sometimes I do, but yeah, I'd be curious. And overall, I gave the voice acting a 4.5 out of 5, which is probably a bit high, but again, I just think so much of why this movie's insanity worked for me was the vocal performances.
hmm Yeah, I give it the standard 3.5. good. Not much else to say about it.
Yeah, that is fair.
Hmm.
So finally, we have the music.
Notably better than last time.
Yeah, it was a bit of an improvement. The music starts out strong with the opening song, which is "Can You Keep a Secret?" And like a lot of these Barbie movies, the first song was kind of it got me into the mood for the movie.
I thought the opening credits were cleverly put together.
Yeah, it's sort of this building up to the reveal of Barbie, where
Hmm.
you're getting like a shot of her eye or her like mouth. They're just very like segmented, and then her stylists helping her get ready for this premiere and magicking a very hideous dress, but
But,
maybe hideous is a bit strong, but
the credits, the names popping up in like the obscure places where it's like, ah, we closed the lid. There's the name. Here's the
yeah,
price tag. There's the name. Putting a lot more effort in this one.
yeah. As for the musical score itself, as you said, it's an improvement over the last few scores.
Yeah, it's nothing spectacular,
Yeah.
but it's still decent.
The moment when Ken gets kidnapped, the score there jumped out at me, but I think it was actually like a bit too noticeable there. But I at the very least noticed it, which hasn't been true of most of the other scores by BC Smith.
And of recent films, yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton more to say about the music, but it's there. It
it's
doesn't
there.
detract from the movie.
Yeah,
So I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
and I also gave it a 3.5 out of 5, which leaves me with a total of 15, which is 60% with a 3-star rating, ranked as probably my third lowest numerically.
Yeah, I have it similarly low. I gave it a total of 17.5 points, which is a 70% or a 3.5 on the 5-star rating scale, which puts it, I think, just above Nutcracker. So it's very near the bottom of my list. That said, this is some of the most fun I've had watching one of these Barbie movies.
I can't say the same.
Yeah, even just discussing it, I think we've had some fun here.
There is an interesting direction that seems that they're trying to go, where
Yeah,
it's like they're continuing on from the last film. We normally don't have Barbie continue unless it was Fairytopia.
yeah,
Here it's the same world. We still had that experience in the dress store last film. Now we're with fairies. The question is, what are they gonna do next?
yes.
If they do anything next, that's the
Yeah.
question.
So speaking of the next Barbie movie, we're actually next week going to have a special episode. I'm not gonna say what it is now. It's gonna be a surprise, but it'll be a little bit before we get to the next Barbie movie, and there's a reason for that. We're shuffling things a little bit around in the release order so that we can release the episode on Barbie: A Perfect Christmas on Christmas. But next week we're actually releasing the first episode in a new mini series, which you will hear about very soon.
Yeah, I don't think I'm involved with that, am I?
Not unless you want to be. This first episode is just probably I haven't recorded it yet, so it will be me and maybe another guest. Um,
We'll see.
yeah, and as we go along, this will be it'll make sense why we're doing this series. You'll all see what is going on, but yeah, I
Yeah.
hope you tune in for it.
Yes. Thank you everyone for listening. Make sure to follow us on social media. We're Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram, at Binging Barbie on Twitter. It seems to still be there. And Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast on Letterboxd. We also have a Tumblr, where you can find an up-to-date list on our Barbie movie rankings. Join us next week for this special episode.